Let me share something with you that most people miss, even after years of searching or working on themselves. You only ever have this moment, right now, and it's the only place anything real can happen. That sounds simple, but let's look at what it really means. Your whole life, everything you experience, is happening now. Not in the future, not in the past, right here. Most people, though, are living as if change is something that comes later, when they fix themselves, or when circumstances shift. They carry around the weight of old stories, and they project their hopes or fears into tomorrow. But consider this. What if the only thing you actually need to shift everything is this very moment? Not tomorrow, not after you figured it all out, just now. Here's what most people don't realize. The present moment isn't just a little space between the past and the future. The present is the doorway to everything. It's not a waiting room. It's not a holding area. It's the place where reality is shaped. The moment you really see this, something loosens. You don't have to drag the past forward. You don't have to wait for some better version of yourself. The moment you choose to be present, you've already started to dissolve those old patterns. Think about this for a second. Most of what you believe about yourself, you didn't choose. You picked it up along the way, from family, from society, from repeated experience. And then, without realizing it, you started living from those assumptions. Every day you wake up, and before you even notice, your mind is running old scripts. I'm not good enough. I'm always anxious. Things never work out for me. And because you accept those as facts, your reality bends to fit them. It's not that the world is against you. It's that you've agreed, often unconsciously, to keep replaying the same pattern. Let me explain what's really happening. Your sense of identity comes first, what you deeply accept as true about yourself. Then, your thoughts and feelings follow that. Your actions, your reactions, even your sense of what's possible, all flow from that central idea. So, if you walk around believing you're someone who can't change, guess what? You'll see proof of that everywhere. But the moment you stop and actually notice, wait, I'm accepting this as truth, but is it really true? That's the beginning of real change. Here's what most people don't realize. The mind is always assuming something, and those assumptions are like invisible instructions. They quietly tell reality how to show up for you. You don't see the instructions, you just see the results. So, if you are always expecting struggle or drama or disappointment, you'll start to notice it everywhere. Not because life is out to get you, but because you're tuned to it. Let me explain how this works. It's like tuning a radio. If you set your dial to a certain frequency, that's what you'll hear. You can't tune into drama and expect to hear peace. You can't tune into lack and expect abundance to show up. The moment you become aware of what you're tuned to, your basic assumptions about yourself and life, you can change the station. This isn't about forcing positive thoughts or pretending to be happy. It's about getting honest. What am I assuming is true right now? What am I expecting from life, from myself? When you see it, you have a choice. Consider this. Most people are reacting to life, not really choosing. They wake up and immediately fall into old grooves. Thoughts about what's wrong, what's missing, who they're supposed to be. It's automatic. But the moment you realize, I don't have to keep running this program, you start to see what's really possible. Here's something important. Presence is not about escaping life or numbing yourself. It's the opposite. It's meeting life directly, without the filter of old assumptions. When you're present, you don't get lost in stories about who you've been or who you need to become. You see things as they are, and in that seeing, all the pressure drops away. You don't have to fix yourself before you can choose differently. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. The only thing you need is the willingness to actually be here now. And notice, what am I bringing to this moment? What am I assuming is real? That's where the power is. Let me share something with you that might surprise you. The ego, that sense of being a separate someone who's always lacking or needing, is built on repetition. It needs you to keep believing the same old stories. The ego survives because you keep agreeing with it, moment after moment. But the moment you bring your awareness to the present, really notice what's happening inside, the ego loses its grip. You start to see, wait a minute, these are just thoughts. These are just feelings. They're not who I am. The more you rest in that awareness, the less power those old patterns hold. It's not about fighting the ego or trying to get rid of it. It's about seeing it clearly. The moment you do that, you stop feeding it. You don't have to believe every thought that comes up. You don't have to act out every feeling. The moment you choose to rest in awareness, everything begins to shift, often without any effort at all. Think about how identity works. It always comes first. Before anything happens out there, you've already decided who you are, what you expect, what's possible for you. Reality is always reflecting that back to you. It's like a mirror. It can't show you something you refuse to see in yourself. Most people try to change the mirror. They want to fix circumstances, change other people, get a new job, find a new partner. But if you are still carrying the same basic assumptions, you end up finding the same pattern in different forms. Here's what most people don't realize. The outer world can only show you what you're willing to accept as true. The moment you shift your internal stance, even a little, you'll start to notice things changing. People respond differently. Opportunities show up. Challenges feel lighter, not because the outer world suddenly fixed itself, but because your way of seeing changed. Let me explain what's really happening underneath the surface. Every repeated thought, every feeling, every expectation is like planting a seed in the present moment. If you keep planting seeds of doubt, of waiting, of not yet, that's what grows. But the moment you stop and actually become aware of what you're planting right now, you have the power to choose differently. It's not about denying what you feel or pretending everything's fine. It's about being honest. Am I planting seeds of fear, of lack, of waiting? Or am I willing to plant something new? The moment you accept something new as true, even if it feels unfamiliar, everything in your experience begins to organize around that. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to wait for proof. The moment you choose, that's enough to start the shift. The results might come quickly, or they might take time, but the direction of your life changes immediately. Here's something people often misunderstand. Stillness isn't about emptying your mind or trying to stop thoughts. It's about being deeply aware of what's happening without getting pulled into every story or reaction. When you're still, you're not just sitting quietly, you're present. You're aware of your thoughts, your feelings, even your body, but you're not lost in them. That awareness is the real power. It's the place where you can actually see what you've been assuming, what you've been accepting as true. And from there, you can choose something new. The moment you rest in stillness, even for a few seconds, The old patterns start to lose their energy. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to figure them out. You simply notice them. And in that noticing, they start to dissolve. Every time you come back to presence, you're building a new foundation. You're training yourself to see what's really happening instead of what the ego wants you to see. Consider how this works in everyday life. Maybe you find yourself getting frustrated with someone or worrying about what might go wrong. In that moment, you have a choice. You can react, letting the old pattern run the show. Or you can pause, become present, and notice what you're assuming. Are you assuming that conflict is inevitable, that you're not heard, that things never go your way? The moment you see the assumption, you have the power to question it. You can say, is this really true? Or is it just what I've gotten used to believing? That little pause, that bit of awareness, is enough to change the direction of the moment. And when you change the direction of one moment, you change the direction of your life. It's not about big dramatic shifts. It's about these small, consistent choices to be aware, to be present, to question what you've always assumed. Let me end with this. Reality is always reflecting what you're willing to accept as true about yourself and your life. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It doesn't matter what you think might happen in the future. The only thing that matters is what you're choosing to accept right now. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait for everything to line up. The moment you choose to be present, to question your old assumptions, to rest in awareness instead of reaction, that's the moment everything can start to change. Test this in your own life. Don't take my word for it. Notice what happens when you choose presence, when you stop feeding the old stories, when you accept something new as possible. Stay with it. Keep coming back to this moment. That's where your real power is.